All right, well, welcome to the online healing class 2021. Seems to be like a new year. That's wonderful. Any kind of new episode that can start now. So this is the healing class connected to the book, The Government of Eden. And so it's not that I'm going to explain it or anything like that. We're going to read parts of it, yes. And as you could see in the say the preparation post that I did on the website, you had an opportunity to prepare yourself a little bit. There was another part, the way of the servant, that I copied or PDF'd to you as a little download that we're going to use too. So that is the say one of the characteristics tonight of this day today. And so we start with coming into a relaxed meditative sense. So that's good to start with that, because what are we doing here is we're not actually doing anything except coming to the point where we are still and actually receptive to what is being offered in the moment that we come together in our joining. And that's where I speak from. That is what I share with you. So I simply open my mouth, and that flows out of me. And not that I'm so great in doing that. No, it's like that's not what this is about. It really doesn't matter. So you are going to be used no matter what, exactly as you are, and expressing yourself as the allness of God. And if you get out of the way, that goes really easily without much effort on your part at all, except being present. So I'm happy that you are present here with me in this meeting, coming together in this one consciousness, in this one mind, in this one oneness, basically. And so let's breathe a little bit. Let's relax. Sit back. Let this come to you. Let this affect you. Just because you can completely rely on what has been given, what is given, and what you recognize as your own, and what is your own. So I've nothing to add to that. It is nice to come together to the recognition and the remembrance of your true nature. And so everything that we bring in today into this class is an opportunity to let that remembrance come to you on a very deep level, and see that there's literally no obstacle at all except your own ideas about you that you can let go of. And so to yeah, basically to come to the place where we actually meet and where I'm speaking from, I want to use the way of the servant just as an introduction to come in touch with that place in your mind where literally the seeker is gone, like where you don't have to seek anymore, but coming into the knowing of, yes, this is my true nature. This is the allness of God, and it is happening right here, right now. I don't need to be better for it. I don't need to be improved for it. No, it is my recognition that it is here with me, in me, through me, and literally being reflected and manifested everywhere around me, if I stay in my quiet to, and say, practice enough patience to see what is actually right in front of me. And that is the same in when I meet you in this meeting. It's like I'm so happy to meet you and come from this quiet place where I'm incomplete, like eternal, infinite patience to wait for what there is to see, literally, for what there is to recognize, and for what there is to enjoy, and to see that I am that. Okay, so that's already quite a bit of words. I'm going to bring this Way of the Servant episode, like a part of it, what I offered as a PDF on the website. I'm going to use that just to bring you to the place where the recognition of your true nature actually has been given, your Christ identity, your Christ mind. So I put it on paper for myself. Let me see. Oh, and now, in the time of recognition, after the allure of the dream has paled, so the dream is not that interesting anymore, and finally lost all trace of significance. And in that perfect silence, where the sleeping sun no longer rebels against the simple and loving embrace of the Holy Father, the light of the living Christ rekindled. See, this is what I love to share with you and where I come from when we speak, this is the only place where we basically can meet each other. The place where you're not afraid to be completely embraced by your Father. And that's the place where the light of the living Christ is rekindled. So, to continue a little bit, the doer is undone, the maker of the world is unmade, and Christ again lives. Here, the end of all fruitless journeying. Here, the ceasing of all strife. Here, the realization of the only truth, beyond utterance, beyond understanding of the world, beyond even the dream of the one who would seek God. See, this is going pretty far, but it's exactly in the place where we meet together. Like you have a recognition of your Christhood, otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to me. You have a recognition that that is manifest in you and that is, say, coming to the service more and more often. And you remember that during the day and you practice that during the day. It's like, well, this can be it. I'm stuck. Sorry, I got stuck in this. And now I want to see this completely different. I want to come and touch what's beyond my perception, what is beyond all of that, what is beyond my own ideas of limitation and self, self identity. So this is what I love about what I shared with you. It's like, yeah, that is the place where we meet. This is coming into that still place where you actually hear the voice for God. And hear that voice for God is a very loving voice. It is like, here, come here. You are my beloved Son, in whom I'm well pleased. Come here and I embrace you in that comfort. And sometimes it seems to be far away when you feel sad or when you feel something has happened that really touched you. But then I always bring it in like this too. It's like you actually, when you allow these deep feelings to feel these deep feelings, you also see that there's comfort in that and that you don't have to run away from that. Like it's not that you have to put it aside with, "Oh, well, that's not very spiritual. I don't want to feel that, or I don't want to take too much time to go through it." So I'm basically inviting you to do that, to step right into that and feel that at the end of your release, of emotional release, is the true comfort that you're actually looking for. It is allowed to be there, and you are allowed to go through it and come out on the other side, literally in the arms of your Father, feeling that you're so on the bottom of it that you actually um, feel the love for God and become very grateful for what you're feeling. So, what I'm trying to share with you here is that we deal here not just with concepts in a book, but with a great revelation that takes place in you, and that is where this is about. It is not about the book, or it is not about the phrases that we read. It is about the recognition and your own experience with it on such an incredible deep level that it takes you over, that it touches you, and that you come into like a really deep place inside yourself where you start to feel your interconnectedness with every aspect of creation. So, yeah, let's breathe again and relax a little bit. That's so great. So, I'm really happy that you're here and that we can do this. And this is really a healing class, because basically we allow the healing to occur to ourselves. And by feeling that, not by resisting it, not by, um, yeah, you can just allow this to happen to you. You can completely trust what is going on. So one of us already said that the book that we use, The Government of Eden, is a very timely book, and so that's why I picked it up as an inspiration, like a source of inspiration for these online healing classes. And I picked very specific sections out of chapters, um, because they cover for me, say, something that is really inspiring to me, that is very yeah, very much resonating with me. That's why I love to share them with you, and read to you some of the paragraphs that are in the sections. So The Government of Eden is a book compiled from a lot of talks and a lot of parts of letters and all that. So it's a big, um, yeah, mix, so to speak, of all the of a lot of principles and talks that Joel held, and it's put together in a way that it actually becomes readable, and yeah, that's why it's easy to use, so to speak. So the chapter title of the section title that we use today is also the title of this class, and it is called The Inner Kingdom and Inner Power. So was why the little part that I just read from The Way of the Servant was so to the point too, because it is about your inner kingdom. It is about coming into a deep recognition of that is all happening in you. See, and that is conceptually not really doable. Like, what do you mean inside of me? What is going inward? Like, is that really when I close my eyes that I sink into my thinking brain and see that there's a lot of thoughts and confusion going on? Is that what my kingdom is? No. So that's why it's good to stand still with this. And of course, we just had already the reference of your Christhood, like that is happening within you. But it has nothing to do with the ideas that you have about it. So, in other words, you can, um, yeah, basically, you can put your intellect to rest and come into a more like the feeling part of all this, and the opening yourself part of this. Otherwise, you will miss it. You will actually not get it, what is occurring. So this is really an invitation for a change, for you to occur, not for anything else. See, there's the release again. There's the breathing again. There's maybe emotions again. Who knows? Like you might feel something by this relaxation. It's like, oh, I was so busy a moment ago, and now suddenly there's this quietness happening in me. It's so good to feel that that is a place in me where I can come to. See, when your mind is completely occupied with your thoughts and with all the occurrences that seem to be around you, then there's no space in your mind for anything else. And that's what I love about meditation, that will literally breaks the moment, and that you can suddenly come into a stillness for yourself, in which you say like, oh, this is so good, I should have done this before. Otherwise, you miss basically this frequency that's actually available for you all the time. So basically, what I said to you is you can let go of your thoughts, of your concerns, of all the things that were so important a moment ago. You will not need it in this encounter that we have, in this meeting that we have, in this opportunity for communication, for communion. See, and still we sink deeper into this consciousness. Still we sink deeper into our feeling this. See, it's connected to the ideas of light. It is what you actually can experience as light. So it can help to breathe through your nose, like breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. See, this is actually a meditation. It is coming to the place where we actually start to communicate directly, where we come into timelessness, into a place where time is no more for the moment that we meet, that we come together. So that is really a great opportunity. See, and one of the healing principles connected to that is that when you enter into timelessness, you are not ruled by time. And that means that things can change really quick. So that because you're basically not under the law of time. So that means also that things that would have taken years in human time, so to speak, can be changed in an instant. And the only change that really needs to occur is letting go even more, is not doing this, not doing that, but letting it be. Okay, so I will start reading a couple of say paragraphs of the section that I chose. The inner kingdom and the inner power. Many of the problems of the world faces, many of the problems the world faces are humanly insoluble. Problems of such magnitude that they are beyond the mind or brain or even of those who seek the highest offices in the nations of the world. This is a time that shakes man's faith. This is a time when people begin to think in fear and doubt. Yet this is our great opportunity. Why? Do we have a solution to these problems? Well, not any human solution. So I want to stand still for just a moment with this because, yeah, we're all um, aware of the fact that there's a lot of tribulation in the world. And whether that's has a certain name or not, it is connected to a certain disease or to a certain government or to this or that. That doesn't not even really matter. But imagine this: that you're on this earthly plane as a human being, not having an alternative. Like, what would you do? What would you do to go through all of this and to move through big packages of fear, so to speak? So it is amazing that we found this, what is given to us as a solution to our worldly problems, and that we have a place, an inner kingdom where we can go to and connect with, and that is always present in us, that that allows us to be comforted. Imagine that you wouldn't have that. That's amazing. So that is the one of the things I realized today is like, oh my God, it's unbelievable. How do you do this as a human being? If you think all of this turmoil and tribulation has a reality and is determining who you are, imagine that that would be your reality. Like I cannot even imagine that. Um, but um, to be to come to the place where you can be free of that and where you come into a stillness that is so comforting that literally the world dissolves for a moment is an incredible gift given to you in this very specific time and place. And so that to me is like, I'm totally grateful for that. I'm totally grateful that I found this, that this came to me, because I had no solutions to the human problems anymore, or to my own problems. I just did not have a solution, and there had to be something else, and that's where the change occurred and started. Like that's where we are actually remembering that there is something else, so to speak, gets the opportunity to speak to us. So that's to me totally amazing. um, yeah, absolutely. So I'm happy to read this, and yes, indeed, this is very timely. This is so to the point for all of us. It's like, oh my God, you can't believe it. It is written maybe 40, 60, 80 years ago, but here it is. Well, you can say it's written 2,000 years ago. Jesus was in the same kind of tribulation when he was on this earthly plane. So it's like not much changed. We produced like a whole pile of Bibles, but we actually didn't read them very well. We didn't even know what it actually said. So now, in the time where we live now, and all the opportunities that we have now, this has come to us as our way out of the restriction that you face um, as a human being. So I'm going to read one more paragraph. Okay, Joel says it this way: Heaven forbid that anybody in this age should any longer believe that any government of man is going to establish peace on earth, or peace among men, or the stability in human relationship necessary to harmonious living. The Master did not have a human solution to offer in his day. And yet he did have a solution for every problem of human experience. He taught recourse to an inner kingdom, an inner power that makes man free. The kingdom is within you. That is the Master's message. The kingdom is within you. And the kingdom is not a temporal kingdom, it's a spiritual kingdom. But when the spiritual kingdom is set up in our consciousness, it changes the whole nature of the outer universe and brings in its turn all of those freedoms for which we are struggling. So here Joel and Jesus are holding hand in hand and sharing with us the idea of the kingdom is within you. It is a spiritual kingdom. It has nothing to do with any kind of place. It is a recognition of a state of mind where you actually see the interconnectedness of every aspect of creation, and you see that revealed no matter where you go. And sometimes you have to wait a moment for that, for you to see that, but it is always there. And that's good to know. Like there's no exception to the love of God. There's no exception whatsoever. That means that everywhere I go, if I wait long enough, and Jill says this is basically our daily task, it's like wait long enough to have that be revealed to you. If that has been revealed to you in one occasion, you will see it in everywhere. So this is really worth taking time for the practice of it. to stand still during the day and to like, what is happening here? I see all this, and now how am I supposed to deal with that? How am I supposed to look at this? I have no idea, but I'm going to wait long enough so that that can be revealed to me. See, and it will. You will see that it works like that. That's inevitable. So once you come into the recognition of that, you immediately feel the confirmation from the universe of the communication. You literally are being confirmed in the fact that everything is connected. So if you would respond and react to the objects and the situations and the circumstances that you're facing, and taking that as your reality, you would be very upset. You would be very much like drawn into fear, or you would be concerned. You would be full of worry because of what you see. So that's something that you don't have to do anymore. You have an alternative now. And it's not that you only have to apply this to the world. It is like when you start to come into the practice of this on a daily basis, take a little bit of time in the morning and before you go to bed, and remind yourself during the day a couple of times to become quiet and to listen instead of do. Then you see that there are big changes that are occurring in your life, in which you can actually see that there's no exception to the love of God. That you see that the world has become pale to you, not very interesting anymore. That is not where your thrill lies. Ah, that's so great. So thank you so much for sharing that with me and being here and joining with me in that. That's so lovely. That's so great. So I'm continuing still a little bit. Okay, so regardless of where you live or under what form of government or under what form of religious activity, you must set up within yourself the kingdom that is to free you from human domination, from the domination of man whose breath is in his nostrils. You must set up that kingdom within yourself, and it must be a spiritual kingdom. See, and that setting it up is basically remembering it and seeing that it is there, like remembering it in the past tense, seeing that that is happening in you and that it's available. It is already established in you. So if you allow yourself to be free of your ideas about it and come with completely open hands to this place, with holding on to no idea, not seeking for anything, not trying to accept anything, not trying to reject anything, but just completely open, then it can come to you. And that kingdom is going to be revealed to you. Oh, yeah. So there's the thought. Can you conceive of anything that can interfere with the operation of God? Then, when you wonder at the evils you have witnessed on earth, you will know that it has been our ignorance of this truth that has brought these catastrophes upon us. We have not understood that God is not influenced by man, but rather that God governs man and all creation. God alone governs, and God does not share his government with man whose breath is in his nostrils, for he isn't even to be accounted of. See, the thing is that don't try to understand what it says. Don't try to understand what Joel says here. No, so this is really for you to allow this to become revealed to you. Like, how does this actually work? Like, in this world, is God governing this world? Is God really governing this world in the way that I perceive it? Is God governing the world? Is He really? Um, so that is not so clear to you if you trust your own perception. So that means to see the revelation of God, to see God governing, it takes the practice of being still, of waiting long enough to see what is actually occurring and see that you are completely connected with every aspect of it. Without, see, then it's not about the objects anymore. It's not about the form anymore, but you see the principle behind it. You literally come in touch with the communication that is here. And coming from that communication, you start to perceive completely different. You literally start to see with Christ's vision. And see, that is, it is not that you have to practice that all the time. It's more like, no, this is going to be revealed to you. So when Joel writes about this, don't try to understand what that means, because that will not give you the possibility of a revelation. Because as soon as you have already a set idea of what you think it means, it is only a restriction to your possibility of receiving this as a revelation for yourself. So that is why we do this healing class, and that's why we are taking a lot of time to relax and to become still, and to basically to hear many times, let go of your ideas, become still, become receptive, be completely open, all of that. So that is going to be very helpful in having a new new revelation come to you. Okay, so Joel says one more thing about the governing God. He says here, there isn't a single law of matter or mind that can stand up as a law in the experience of one who can bring to understand the universal nature of God governing its universe and not permitting, any interference with its government. See, this is quite a not so easy part to read. That's why it's good to stand still for a moment and let it come to us what it actually means. See, the thing with perception is that you cannot see without your own ideas. Like you will have to let go of your own ideas in order to see something else. But the way that you perceive things is already determined by the way that you think. You're literally only seeing the reflection of your own thinking. So now we come into the place where there's um, God's government in action, where we enter into a universe that is not connected to the ideas of time, and it's not connected to ideas of separation or say objects or matter or form. See, and we're as human beings, you're so used to thinking in these terms, connected to time, connected to form, connected to say patterns that we use to think. And this all has nothing to do with that. Okay, so let me see this one last part. See, the thing is that the illusions are as strong in its effects as its reality. That means in you, like when you have an idea about something that becomes very real to you, and you think it real, literally, you see it everywhere, you see it manifested everywhere, and you really think that it is you, that it's part of you, and actually that makes you totally upset. And actually that makes you concerned and full of fear. So to turn that around in your mind, to turn that around and see this in a whole different light, is then to not do that, not pick that up, and come into a quiet moment that we call the present moment. We're literally starting to practice the presence by letting go of ideas, by not picking up thoughts, by coming into this still place in ourselves where we see, okay, yeah, this chatterbox mind part that is producing thoughts all the time. Well, actually, we're not going to engage with that. We're going to leave that for what it is, and allowing ourselves to move deeper into our withinness, to have a different experience of ourselves. See, and then you have an opportunity, just like we said in the beginning, then you have an opportunity to come into timelessness, where you're no longer ruled by time, where actually the sounds of the world quiet down, and a whole new experience arises within you. So, and is that happening to you in this moment? Is that something that you're open to receive in this present moment? Are you practicing the presence? So Joel wrote something nice too in the Master Speaks. So I want to use that too, because it is to me a nice push in the right direction, and so to speak, because he's basically confirming the idea that you are the one that is going to become active in this, and you are the one receiving this for yourself, and it has to become you in the allness of God. So I will read that too as an inspiration, and as an say invitation to become even more activated in this, and then understand me well that it's not a doing, but it's really an undoing. The allness of God made manifest. I put it on the website too today. It's like the ultimate of pure work is to arrive at a place where the Comforter, where your Holy Spirit can come to us, where your Holy Spirit can come to you. Not through a book or a teacher, but through the unfoldment and revelation of our own inner being. We in this work must avoid the necessity for the statement that Jesus had to make to his followers. If I go not away, the Comforter will not come unto you. In other words, as long as you are relying on me as a person, as long as you are coming to me with every one you cannot heal, or with any claim you cannot meet, and keep looking to me to do it for you, the fullness of this revelation will not come to you. We must realize our true identity as the allness of God made manifest. See, that's a personal invitation, and that's the urgency that you can feel too. It's like, yeah, of course you know this, but it is very comforting to just listen to a tape of Joel, or to do this or that, and there's nothing wrong with that. Understand me right in this. It's like there's nothing wrong with it, but at the same time, it's like something is going to be activated in you, and you want to come into the practice of this. You're going to use this because it is basically an opportunity for you to become an extension of this allness, to come into the revelation of that. And it's not that you have to become very active in the world with that. That is not what I mean. But it's more like, no, it needs to be activated in you. See, and you wait, just like I said in the beginning, waiting for a different perception to come to you, to look around and to sit still with a certain situation long enough that you can see beyond it and see like, oh, this is not what I thought at all. Now I know exactly what this means. See, that is what will do the job for you. So there's not so much doing connected to it, as well as taking time to relax into it. And that works. That's the amazing thing. So then you suddenly see that the problem that you saw a moment ago dissolves literally, and brings you into a confirmation of your say not being separate from everything that is, but a confirmation that you're one of it, one with it. So, and that's going to be your focus, and that's going to be your comfort place, your comfort zone within yourself, your kingdom, the place where you are in heaven, the place where you are not say in doubt, and you're not confused by polarities or by dualism or none of that. But it is as if something cuts right through it, and suddenly you see it very clear how the situation is, or that there is no problem at all, or that the problem has solved itself. See, it's very interesting to look at it that way, and to see that basically the idea of timelessness is totally helpful in this. So that means we're not going anywhere. This is it. This is what is happening right now. It's happening right here. It has nothing to do with tomorrow. It has nothing to do with, well, we'll do it later. It has to do with being present here right now, and see that everything is manifested in that. Everything that you need to know is given in that moment, and everything that's has to be revealed will be revealed just now. And doesn't you don't need to train another 10 years in order to get there. And there's literally no future where we can place goals and trying to get it sometime. So the urgency that is connected to that is really what Joel is talking about in this. Like the allness of God made manifest can only be made manifest right now. It has nothing to do with the future. It has nothing to do with your abilities or anything like that. No, that is all being revealed in this present moment. So I'm very grateful that this all came to us to share today, and in this moment. And so hope to see you next week. And the ones that are in this class, we can still have some time after this class to, maybe to ask a question or to sit still together, have a little silent meditation or whatever needs to happen. I'm open to that. So thank you so much for that.